Hello everyone, the Chart Guys have been working on an introductory technical analysis course for quite some time now, and after surveying hundreds of traders with what would be the most sought after information regarding technical analysis, we came up with this course, When to Enter and Exit. It covers over 5 hours of the basics on when to enter and exit, and we feel after watching this course it will help build a foundation of technical analysis knowledge which will eliminate a lot of the uncertainty in the world of trading stocks. So the course outline, we go over the psychology of trading, establishing a game plan, the different indicators we use to signal a bullish and bearish entry, how to recognize support and resistance levels, poor entries, where traders make mistakes, exit targets, how do you know where to sell your trade, where to place stop losses, that's very important, minimizing losses is what keeps you in the game long term, my personal preparations, how I go about getting ready for each trading day, and then piecing it all together, utilizing all the information we just learned and how to apply that in the real world for making successful, profitable trades. As a bonus, we also include a lot of information on finding entries and exits utilizing patterns, and you can find these patterns on every time frame on pretty much any stock and commodity trading, and certainly being able to recognize those patterns can give you an edge as well. So we hope you will check this out. Again, it's an introductory level course. So if you are new to technical analysis and trying to get a firm grasp on things and feeling a little bit overwhelmed, then this course is for you. I hope you check it out. Appreciate you watching. Hey everybody, checking back in on the USMJ sector. Bulls are out. It took about 6 weeks, almost 2 months, waiting for them to show back up after the votes, waiting for things to settle out. But they're back. MJNA CBIS GRNH TRTC HEMP AMMJ and NDEV is what we're going to be looking at here. And MJNA, the clear sector leader, the clear breakout happened first here, and we're now seeing the laggards catch up. So it's a really nice opportunity where if you missed the initial MJNA move and you want in on some profits, finding those laggards that are now catching up, certainly paying off. So what happened here is we've got the euphoria leading up into the vote. We have the vote come out, and we see that we're going to have states passing medical marijuana laws, and again, the reaction was priced into the votes already before they even occurred because of the polls that we saw coming and because of the hype leading up to it. So we saw a profit, sell the news type scenario, and looking back at previous history, what happened in 2014, 2012, other years where we had some votes coming up, it was really a nice guide to know that sell the news was going to be the play. So either way, we had the dump, a bounce attempt, another lower high, now a higher low. So now we start to pay attention once we have that higher low for the potential for the bulls to change the trend. And we have a chart in the Canadian sector, ACB. Check out the Canadian video I just did because it looks pretty much exactly like MJNA. And we would be right here on ACB with what if we were seeing the same action on MJNA. So I'm going to be watching very close for the same kind of breakout to happen. So what happened with MJNA? We got really sideways tight trading, 12.4 and 12.5. We had about 4 or 5 tops at those levels. As soon as we broke 12.5, we had a big 10% day, big spike in volume, rejected from the tight Bollinger Bands, the upper Bollinger Band. We pulled back. The low of the pullback was 12.6. So previous resistance held as support, and then we see the bull volume pour in, and we see a huge breakout above the upper Bollinger Band and continuation. And this has been a nice play if you're not comfortable holding overnight due to the potential risks in the sector. Certainly low risk, but we have seen shutdowns before, which certainly can leave some terrible memories for some people. But either way, if you see the strength at the end of the day, you can anticipate strength the next morning at the least. So that's what we've seen pretty much every day on this run-up with big bull volume to back it up, strong closes, and continuation. And on Friday, we pretty much saw, roughly speaking, over $14 million traded. That's big time money, and we saw a strong close over 20 cents psychological resistance. So where to be looking at resistance after this move broke out? We had this high back here of 14.5. As soon as 14.5 broke, we looked up to 16.5 as the next resistance, then up to 18, then up to 20. So now after 20, we're looking up at the high from the pre-vote here, 268. That is the only short-term resistance in sight. And as long as we keep closing above the upper Bollinger Band, the bulls are in full control of this stock. And that upper Bollinger Band, you need to update it every day because it changes significantly at the open We had a bearish reversal candlestick. It did not confirm. The bulls are still strong, and the volume is backing up this move. Look at this weekly chart. As soon as that 200-week moving average became support, that's your go signal from a weekly chart perspective. Rejected twice, it became support. Huge bull breakout. Big time gains to be had there. We have now seen about 75% in 3 weeks. So we're just looking up at 268, and we'll see if the bulls can continue above the upper Bollinger Band moving forward. CBIS has been following a strong breakout with MJNA. I would say that was number 2 behind the sector leader for the reaction here. We did consolidate. This does look like a bull flag of consolidation leading to continuation. You can see the bulls did buy the dip. We had a nice follow-through day on Friday. So we're looking at resistance of 727, and then the high here from pre-election, 77. So we're very close to breaking that level here as well. Upper Bollinger Band is resistance. That's the difference between MJNA and CBIS. So we need to watch those levels closely. And in terms of dollar volume, not really anywhere near the dollar volume that we're seeing in MJNA. We could say roughly about $3 million on Friday. So very significantly less than MJNA. Weekly chart for CBIS is rejecting from the upper Bollinger Band. And those very clear resistances are right here. Bulls would love to see a break over those levels. And if you look back historically, I believe I did that in my last video, but if you look back in January, over the past 5 years, 3 of the past 5 years have had a really bullish January, and it has usually occurred when the bulls have already been cooking, so to speak, with a nice uptrend, which is currently what we have going on. So I would say more likely than not, we see a green January, but it looks like this run is starting a little early. So in my opinion, we're seeing traders and investors note that pattern and getting in early. That's the market giving us some information historically, and the market adjusting to that and saying it's not going to be that easy this time because people are jumping in knowing what the pattern has been, so it's happening a little bit earlier, and that's just my opinion. GRNH is one of the laggards here. The bull break occurred really last week, and we could say MJNA bull break, the clear bull break was all the way back in mid-December, and the clear breakout began on December 23rd. So we look at GRNH. Clear breakout happened December 27th, so it's a laggard. We had that same higher low to start paying attention to the reversal in the trend because the trend had been lower highs and lower lows. So now we have our higher low, higher highs. Breakout above the upper Bollinger Band. Solid bull volume. Again, it doesn't compare to MJNA, but it's clearly enough to move the price. We have a lot more resistance levels to watch here because of this downtrend. And we're looking at 10 cents, and then we can find all kinds of resistance. 11.8, and then up to 13.7. And then 15.9. So you can see we're still very clearly a ways away from the high before the vote, whereas MJNA and CBIS are a lot closer to that break. Weekly time frame here, nice back test of this 100 week. Resistance 3 times, 4, 5 times. It became support. We back tested and held it 3 times, and then the bull showed up, and we're looking for a bullish MACD cross. 11 cents, this 200-week moving average is also going to be a key resistance level. So if I had to choose who is the strongest charts, it's MJNA and CBIS. But these other names are following along, like I said, as laggards. TRTC is another one. It's still below its upper Bollinger Band. It closed at the high of the day, so we can anticipate continuation on Tuesday, and the volume is just beginning to show up here. So we can distinguish these names between 2 categories, the bulls that have their upper Bollinger Band support and the bulls that still have that level as resistance, because that's a very clear resistance level that keeps a stock from being in breakout mode. So we need to watch how TRTC reacts to its upper Bollinger Band resistance on Tuesday and whether or not it can break above it. And clearly here we have tons of resistance still. We're looking at 372, 43, and every time I'm picking these resistance levels, it's the high of the lower highs where the bulls were rejected from these bounce attempts. So 372, looking at 43, 541, and then 56. So we're still, again, 60%, significantly below the high from before the vote. Weekly chart for TRTC, have a bit of a double bottom down here, 222 and 221, held that 200-week moving average support, and the bulls are trying to turn things around now, but again, a long way to go compared to some of these other names. Hemp also breaking out. It is above the upper Bollinger Band. We closed at the high of the day, which indicates strength into Tuesday. We got the 200-day moving average resistance, 3.6, which is the high of this breakout attempt at this point. Look back here, we had resistance of 3.7. So a clear resistance level. If we get above 3.7, we could see a quick move to 4 cents. And we're looking up, we have resistance at 4.8, 5.05, and then up to 5-6. So another scenario where the bulls have a lot of work to do, but it's playing laggard and trying to catch up with the sector leaders. Weekly chart, very clear downtrend still in play. 50-week resistance is right at that 3-6 level, and we are a ways away from the high from before the vote. AMMJ, very clear tight pattern, higher low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. And what indicated the breakout? Look at the volume. Very clear tightening pattern, decreasing volume. You will see this everywhere. You'll see this in the S&P 500. You'll see it in Facebook, Apple, any stock. It's psychology that we're seeing here, and traders experience the same psychology pretty much in whatever market. So the clear break was indicated by the spike in bull volume, but there's a lack of follow-through. We couldn't hold the upper Bollinger Band support. We fell back below it. That being said, this is normal, healthy consolidation after a breakout because the volume is decreasing, which is exactly what the bulls want to see. So support right now is 8.8. Bulls would love to see a green day on Tuesday and head back up towards the recent high of 117. We have the middle Bollinger Band support catching up as well. That will be a key level to watch. So after 117, we're looking back at 140 and then up to the pre-vote highs of 210. 117 key resistance going forward, weekly time frame. I like the weekly chart here because it's a fairly recent stock, and you go back, if you look at the past 6 years on MJNA, there's tons of resistance, but you look at the past few years on AMMJ, and there's not a ton of resistance because of the lack of dilution, no reverse splits. Well, I won't say no reverse splits because I haven't looked at the history, but this price action tells me we're pretty close to a blue sky breakout. 189 back here, getting up to 210. Zoom out one more time because it does look like we did get close to a blue sky breakout here. And it looks like we did have some price action up at 340. There was no volume behind it, but point being, there's very little resistance back here historically. And we established support here, a base at the 200-week moving average. Now the bulls trying to show back up again. But again, compared to MJNA and CBIS, a lot of work to do with getting back to the levels from the vote, 210. So we're still 50% away. Or I should say we're still over 100% away from those levels. Last, we've got NDEV. It had a nice, very strong breakout. This has probably been the biggest gains here. Look how tight we got. And same thing. Look at the volume. Decreasing volume, tightening range. Volume broke, signaling the breakout. And we've seen a move from 26 cents to 150 in a month. Huge gains to be had there. 600%. Nobody else, in my opinion, I'd have to check all the stocks, but in the U.S. sector, that's got to be some of the best gains we had in December. So we're still strong here, and we consolidated. Bulls broke the high of Thursday on Friday. That's a good sign, but we do have the upper Bollinger Band resistance, 124. We need to update that level every day because it is clearly rejecting the price the last couple of days. So 129, 144, and 151. And we had a member who was all over NDEV back before this second breakout occurred. And in terms of looking for history, we look back at the weekly and you say, oh, there's no resistance, we're in blue sky breakout. That's not the case. You need to zoom back further. And what I picked out was previous resistance right here, 150. Highest price we saw back in February 2013. Highest price we've seen in 4 years. And look where we rejected, 151. That is not a coincidence. That is previous price history telling us where that resistance is. And on that last breakout day, we found that 150 resistance, and the price was in the 130s, and we said that that's the next level to keep an eye on. And a perfect rejection. We saw more than 35% pullback the next day after we rejected from that level. So noting where that key resistance is, seeing the price reject from it, that would be a clear indication to lock in that profit. And you can always reload cheaper, which certainly would have been nice, seeing a 30% pullback to re-enter as the bulls are still strong here. So the weekly time frame in the short term, let's zoom back in. The bulls are in full control. That's the wrong chart. NDEV above the upper Bollinger Band. Look at that solid volume. This is a perfect bull chart. Consolidation, continuation, consolidation, continuation. So we know after such a strong move that we're likely to see a period of consolidation similar to what we saw back in August, September, and then again in October, November. But what has indicated that we're going to see this period of consolidation? It's been losing the upper Bollinger Band weekly support. So 3-week breakout, lose that support, we consolidate for over a month. A breakout, we lose the upper Bollinger Band, we consolidate for a month. So as long as we have the weekly upper Bollinger Band support, the bulls are in full control. So we're watching that recent high of 151 resistance. If the bulls can turn that level into support, they are looking great, and 210 would be the next level we're watching. And we can look at psychological resistances from there, 160, 170, 180, because there's very little previous price history to act as resistance. So I'm going to be watching all of these names. MJNA is the sector leader. There's been some nice gains. I've been getting back in MJNA, a nice little nostalgia effect, as MJNA was the first stock I bought in my life 6 years ago, and now making money back again this week. Nice bull breakout. And again, check out that Canadian video I just did. Compare ACB with what we saw on MJNA. It's a very, very similar chart, and where ACB currently stands, we would be looking at right about here on MJNA early December. So if we get these same signals, we're going to be looking for a breakout there as well in the coming month. So I appreciate you watching, and we will check back in 2017. Have a great new year.